Ideas are a dime a dozen, but execution is everything.
I have my dear friend Kim Perell, 9 times founder, and no big deal, investor in over 100 startups.
Just fake it till you make it. Nobody knows. They're
A little power pose and go in.
Yeah, just like own it.
You walk into the next business or the next venture and you are hit with this like, am I good enough to be here?
And I said no because I didn't feel qualified. Why would I say no?
I think the most important decision you make in your life is... I just want to share with you that I got schooled by Benjamin this morning because we do this a lot as parents where we tell them these quotes, and things, attitudes to keep it up, be positive. The way you do anything is the way you do everything, And a lot of the times, because we're humans, we don't necessarily act by the principles that we're trying to teach them, which is, I don't know. I think that happens in every household. Like, I'm not perfect. I want my kids to be perfect, but I know that's not going to happen. There was this incident this week where I actually mentioned to him a couple of times this quote, the way you do anything is the way you do everything. And because I truly believe in it, he fired it back at me the other day because we were supposed to be doing an activity together and I honestly just got lazy and I was trying to brush him off, and then I was not fully engaging. Anyways, he sat me down and he's looks at me in the eyes and he's like, the way you do anything is the way you do everything. And I was like, God damn it. They're at this age now where I can't avoid it anymore. I gotta walk the walk. I can't just talk the talk, they're paying attention because they're also looking for opportunities to put it back to you, So I gotta be more conscious of my shortcomings. But listen, I tell him all the time, I don't know what I'm doing, okay? This is my first time here as well. So I'm just trying to figure it out and we're doing it together. I just have a little bit more years of experience, but it doesn't mean that I figured it out. Having children is truly a very humbling and educating journey for everyone. So I am very grateful for that. Okay, let's talk about today's episode. I have my dear friend Kim Perell coming in. I'm so honored to have her because aside from the fact that she is beyond accomplished and did all the things, she's also the kind of person that carries herself so lightly. She's so giving. She's always smiling. I don't think I've met an entrepreneur like her before. I first met her because I was leading a panel discussion. I was interviewing her on stage, and just her openness, and her cheering on new entrepreneurs and wanting to really bring out all this knowledge and experience that she acquired throughout the years forward. Her kind of main thing is really about failure. And I know that you hear it a lot, everyone's talking about how failure is necessary, but she has so many examples to show. And to this day, she speaks about the amount of no's she's getting, even being at her kind of level, So I feel like for anyone that is building anything, it's so important to have these living examples that can speak on the struggles of building something meaningful, understanding how life has its own ways, So she's coming in with a lot of beautiful lessons and beautiful mistakes that she made that maybe we can bypass. So this episode is truly for anyone who is trying to level up, whether at home or at your workplace, in your relationships. Honestly, I feel like the fundamentals and kind of the lessons that she shares can be applied to so many aspects of life. I personally love to sit down with a person that stretched themselves, and broke through certain ceilings, because that type of experience makes you look at the world differently. And I want to hear more from those people. So I'm happy that she found time to come, because I know you're going to enjoy this conversation immensely, just like I did. I left inspired, and I hope you will too. Enjoy this episode. Okay, I'm going to do a quick little intro because I don't love doing them, but you have such an extensive list of things you've done that I feel like
what did I do?
Just a lot of things. You are a 9 times founder, 2-time best-selling author, investor in over 100 startups, and no big deal, a mother of 4, 2 sets of twins. But I've met you actually in that environment of just like talking about business. We had a Style Saves event.
Yes.
Where
Oh my gosh.
that was really fun, just like sitting and getting to know you. You really have such a special gift of sharing big ideas, especially around business and, you know, women. Make it simple and focus on the things that matter. But what's interesting to me is that with all this list of accomplishments, you mostly talk about failures.
Yes.
Which is really cool. It's really refreshing. So The Mistakes That Made Me a Millionaire, which is the new book that you wrote.
I'm so excited.
What made you decide that this is the time to go into kind of the failure part of your whole career?
Well, everyone talks about how they win and all their successes, and it's glorified success, because the reality is my successes have been built on humbling, embarrassing mistakes that I've made. And usually nobody talks about it. It's like taboo to talk about mistakes or failure or the challenges that we go through every single day. And I think that is a mistake, especially raising 4 children. I want them to know that it's okay to make mistakes. Like, that's how you're going to learn and grow and get better.
I feel like women have this thing, like it feels even against our nature to suck at things because we were raised to be perfect or strive to for perfection. We digest and go through failure so much harder.
Oh, it's so much harder. And we also feel underqualified. I talk about that a lot. Just the feeling of not being good enough, not being smart enough. It's hard, especially as women, like those feelings that you have all the time in terms of whether it be business, personal, motherhood, whatever. And social media showcases so much of the highlight reel that we never see really what's happening behind the scenes. And it's so hard to compare.
Do you feel like the way you brought up helped the way you view failure? Or did you have to unlearn kind of certain childhood cues to embrace failure?
I think having 2 entrepreneurial parents.
Oh, you had 2 entrepreneurial parents?
Yes, I had 2 entrepreneurial parents. So it was a never-ending roller coaster ride, right? It truly was. And I feel that when I was a child, we would sit at the dinner table and my dad would talk about all the challenges, and we'd go around and he'd say, what's the worst thing that happened to you today?
But in the upbeat voice. What's the worst thing that happened?
And then I think it was entrepreneur therapy. He was telling us what happened to him and he just wanted to share that. So then he used that as a catalyst to talk about with our family. And having that conversation about the worst thing, whether I missed a school bus or like the dog ate my homework, whatever it was. And then him sharing in his business world. I mean, we weren't talking about school or sports. We were talking about business resilience. And it normalized failure for me at a very young age. So failure became okay.
It wasn't this big, scary thing.
It wasn't this, well, because I was seeing him fail all the time. I mean, he was definitely, close to bankruptcy more times than I can count, which as a young child makes you very nervous and all you want is stability. And you're seeing him just go failure after failure and you're hoping it stops, right? And you're hoping your dad gets a real job. But again, he didn't. He couldn't help himself. He was an entrepreneur. He had a big vision and big dreams, which I appreciate now. But when you're growing up, you just want consistency.
Well, that's so interesting then that you became an entrepreneur at such a young age, because wanting consistency and stability as a child and seeing the entrepreneurial kind of roller coaster, I would assume that you would go to the other way, right? Like, get me a stable job. I'm going to work for someone and this is it. My future is guaranteed.
Yes, exactly. I said I'm going to get it. I went and got a college degree and I wanted to get a stable job. I wanted to work at a big company and climb the corporate ladder where everything was safe and that you didn't have the uncertainty that I had growing up. And so when I graduated from college, I got a job at an internet startup, but they'd raised $100 million. So it was a very stable internet startup. And honestly, it was my dream job. It was amazing because I got the flexibility of working in a very innovative environment, but I had the stability of having a big bankroll behind me.
Your paycheck was guaranteed.
Yes, and that's what most people think, is that it's a stable job. What I learned when the dot-com bubble burst and the company went bankrupt and I got fired was that there is no stability. There is no stable job. And I think it was a great lesson for me to learn, because I had thought that was a stability. And what we learn, and we see this every day now, especially with COVID, there's no stability. The only stability is what you can create. That was a catalyst to say, hey, I thought this was stable. It wasn't. I thought this was uncertain. Maybe it's not so uncertain because you're betting on yourself.
It's probably for you to look back at what you've seen your parents go through. You had more empathy and grace towards it.
Oh my gosh.
Like, oh my God.
Yes. Oh, yes. I have so much more, and really appreciate the lessons I learned now. Not when you're a kid. It's very hard to appreciate what they're teaching you, what they're going through. But now it's,
I'm
different.
so curious to hear, like, what language do you use with your kids? Like, when they obviously see you and your husband, running your own businesses, doing things together, building something from the ground up. What kind of language do you use to normalize that and to make it look less scary?
To be honest, that's why I write books, is because I want there to be a blueprint of not only my own journey, but the lessons I learned that my children can also learn from as well. And we talk at the dinner table, so we still do dinner table conversation, but we use it's not just about the failures I've had. So we do something called pow, wow, bow, which is pow, the worst thing. So we talk about the worst thing. And then wow, which is the best thing that happened. Bow, which is something I'm grateful for.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Where did you pick it up? I've never heard pow, wow,
A
bow.
life coach named Abby Ziv had told me that. And I just thought it was such a great place to have a dinner conversation around not only the best and worst, but what we're truly grateful for. And it's really grounding from a family perspective.
I'm going to start doing it. Maybe I'll start with Gary.
Start with Gary and see. But we do it all the time. The kids love it. You want to play Pow Wow Bow, Mom? I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Who's first?
So tell me about the lowest point of your career. Was it when you got fired from that tech job?
Looking back, I not only got fired, I had convinced all of my friends that they were going to be .com millionaires. And they came and worked for me. And then my boss fired me and told me I had to fire all them too. I mean, can you imagine firing, not just getting laid off and then having to fire all your friends? It was the lowest point because I had sold them this big dream. I thought I was going to become a .com millionaire. So I had sold them this dream. And then obviously that dream became a nightmare. And having to tell them that, and that feeling of people counting on you was the worst feeling ever. And so then at that point, a lot honestly didn't talk to me for many years. I don't blame them, but you're young and you don't understand the circumstance of...
Yeah, you also place so much of your future on this like big promise, right? Yeah, it makes sense. Although I said gatekeeping is coming back, I'm not going to gatekeep this one. I have to share with you two products that I absolutely love from Clearstem. The first one is the HydroGlow Stem Cell Moisturizer. I love how my skin feels softer, plumper, and healthier. I feel like it just drinks up the moisturizer, and the fine lines, which are honestly dehydration lines, go away. And then the Gentle Clean Vitamin Infused Calming Wash. I am very wary when it comes to face washes. I'm always scared of it drying out my skin. So this is great for sensitive skin people like me, and obviously not drying, not stripping of the skin barrier, which is key because clear skin changes everything. A little bit about the brand because I love the mission and the founders. It was founded in 2017 by Danielle Gronich, the acne guru and licensed clinical esthetician, and Kaylee Christina, who is an integrative health practitioner and nutritionist. And Clearstem takes like a full inside-out approach to breakouts with both supplements and the topical product. They actually were on the podcast. We featured them on Not Alone in early 2025, and you guys absolutely love the information that they shared. I learned so much. Every formula is made with 0 pore clogging ingredients and has been proven in third-party trials to improve acne in as little as 4 weeks, with even greater results by 12. Discover the Clearstem difference and experience clear, healthy skin for life. Go to clearstem.com/Valeria and use code Valeria at checkout for 15% off your first order. That's CLEARSTEM.com/Valeria and code Valeria for 15% off.
And then after that, it was definitely a low point. I can remember going into my bed and putting the covers over my head and hoping, and crying and thinking, what am I going to do now, right? Because what I thought was guaranteed was not guaranteed. The internet now was at that point, every internet company was going under. So I wasn't going to get another internet job, and I could go back for a real job. But again, now my thought of what real security kind of had been flipped on its head.
Right. So the next morning you wake up.
Well, it was like 5 mornings later.
5 mornings later, when I opened the curtains.
Yeah, I opened the curtains, and my roommates said, Kim, it's time to, what are you going to do, right? We got to pay rent.
How old are you, in your 20s?
I'm 23.
23. Okay, so super. So
yeah,
it's important to note at those ages when something like that happens to you, it feels like the end of the world.
Oh,
because you have no life experience to be like, oh, I'll be fine.
No, this is the end of the world. I mean, I've been fired. My friends have all been fired. I didn't have a job. I'm running. I had no money. And you're really thinking, what are you going to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
But at that point, my belief that this internet was going to be big. Now, obviously, we all know what happens in the end. The internet becomes huge. But at that point, every large company had gone bankrupt. And so the uncertainty around it was huge.
Mm-hmm.
It's exactly like now when you think of AI and you think of the transformation and innovation that's happening, uncertainty, you're like, there's skeptics, is this really going to change?
Mm-hmm.
Then there's also believers. And I believed in the future of the internet. And so I made a bet on myself to start my own company.
I want to focus on that point because the reason why I was excited to talk to you is this idea that it's very difficult to have this strong belief in something when everywhere around you tells you that you're wrong. Everyone around you. I mean, you had literally companies that were shut down. You were released from your job. You know what I mean? So it's like the world is like, no, this is not going to work. And you're 23-year-old, then you have to be like, no, this is what I'm betting on. Like that's just that power. It takes a lot of courage. I don't know if it's also delusion.
Yeah, like a little delusion.
A little delusion. Totally. I mean, we all now know the power of delusion, so we're here to promote it as well. What were your cues that it's like, I'm 100% certain about this?
Well, honestly, I never felt 100% ready. I don't think anyone feels 100% ready for anything. And everyone, to your point, was saying, Kim, you're crazy. You have no experience, you have no money, and the internet's over. So this is
like hard facts.
Yeah, this is hard facts. This is not denied. This is not debatable. This is what's happening. Mm-hmm. But your confidence in yourself has to be greater than everyone else's doubt. And now looking back, because now I've been an entrepreneur for 20 years, that confidence is that thread that pushes you to keep going, and that belief in yourself and your idea, because there's so many naysayers and critics and dream killers out there. And usually they're just trying to protect you, right? People actually, I believe, have positive intent, but they're imposing their limiting beliefs on you, saying, Kim, you can't do this because I don't think I could do that.
Yeah, you're just a mirror, right?
You're just a mirror. And so you have to be strong enough in your belief that you believe you can do it anyway.
So you're like, okay, I'm going to do this. You don't have experience. You have some kind of an understanding of the internet.
Yeah, I had a couple years experience. I mean, I didn't know how to run a company.
So what was the idea? What was the company about?
So it was a digital marketing company because at that point we're still using the yellow pages, and it was old school, right? Billboards, not digital billboards, the old school kind of billboards. And honestly, I called my grandma, and she lent me $10,000 to start my company. Go nanny, right?
If you want someone to truly believe in you, you called your grandparents.
Yes, who had no idea what I was talking about, first of all. The internet, like, don't even know what the internet is, but we bet on you. And that was the catalyst that honestly enabled me to start the company, right? $10,000. I could live with my boyfriend for rent-free. All I needed was a computer because it's the internet. So it gave me a pretty good runway. And I just set up shop at my kitchen table. And I think today, if I was 23 and you're doing it again, you could still set up shop at your kitchen table or an outside cafe. At this point, there's internet everywhere, right? It's never been easier to start something. There, I had an internet. It was AOL, like dial-up. It was very slow. Very slow. So
I remember that sound.
Yes.
Today it's much easier, I feel, because you see so many other people do it and document it and talk about it. So you know what they say, when you see it, you believe it. But back in those days, people weren't really like sharing their journeys of starting companies and how it looks like. So it's like you're navigating in the dark.
Yeah. And I thought I had to do it alone. And I think a lot of people think that they have to do it alone. They have to create alone, whether it be your ego or you view asking for help as a weakness, which I did. You know, I was like, everyone else doesn't believe me. I'm going to do it on my own. I'm going to prove to everyone that I can do this, right? And I'm sure a lot of people feel like that. Like, if you don't believe me, why am I going to ask? I'm just going to keep doing it alone. What you realize is no one's successful alone. It's impossible to create something by yourself in a vacuum, which is amazing with the internet today because you're not alone. There's so many opportunities to learn from other people that are doing it in your same position. Like, oh my gosh.
So when
What a
you,
gift.
I'm sure you're sitting now looking back, like if I had the tools people have today, oh my God. Although you did pretty well for yourself.
Yeah. Look at me. Good point.
But when you say asking for help, how did that look like in the early days?
Well, I can remember working 16-hour days by myself at my kitchen table, and my boyfriend, now husband, was just looking at me saying, this is unsustainable. You can't continue to work like this. And he found me one morning crying on my computer, trying to finish something. And he's like, this is, at some point, you break.
Yeah.
And I think at that point, I finally called the one person I knew, because there wasn't the internet. You couldn't just go online and watch someone else do it. I called, someone that I'd known that had started and scaled businesses, and I asked for help. I said, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't have experience running a company. And honestly, he's like, why didn't you call me sooner?
That's a big lesson, no? It's a big lesson to have the humility to ask questions, to ask for help. Yeah. But also it's so beautiful to see, like, a lot of people want to help.
Oh my gosh. So many people want to help, especially if they're close to you, your inner circle, right? And they know you. They want to help. We are just too afraid to ask.
Yeah.
And there's so many reasons: fear of judgment, weakness, whatever the fear is that we don't ask for help in a lot of areas of our life. This is just business, but think of all the other areas that I want or need help in that I'm just not asking.
This is a paradox, where we're constantly both exhausted and feel like that's it, we can't do anymore, yet not reaching out.
If you have a great team, and team can be thought of in so many ways. I talk about people pillars, which is just as a house needs 4 walls, you need people to support you if you want to truly become successful. That is, again, in personal or in business. You can't raise 4 kids by yourself. It's impossible.
Yeah.
And so you need to really look at what's that team you're surrounding yourself with to make sure that you can show up every day as your best self. Else you're exhausted and you're not helping your children whatsoever.
Yeah, you're just surviving.
Right. And being present, just surviving, is not actually being a great role model and being present.
So talk to me about that business. So you started a business, you called and asked for help. It started scaling, growing.
Yes, as soon as I started getting help, the help was the key. It was like the unlock, right? And once I started asking for help, and I usually have this, I use this phrase, which is, there's 3 words in order to get help, right? Be like, oh, who do I ask for help? How do I get a mentor? I use let's have coffee, which is so simple because anyone will have coffee with anyone for about 15 minutes. So then I started asking everyone to coffee. I'm like, do you want to have coffee? Does anyone want to have coffee? I still do it. Do you want to have coffee? Because you never know what you're going to learn, who you can connect with. It's not just about the caffeine. It's about the connection of being with someone and actually learning and having that personal connection. And once I got these people pillars, I got mentors, I had peer groups. I mean, I hired a team, moved things over on the kitchen table. My business started to scale. It was insane. But again, there was 3 years I just sat at my kitchen table alone. So I'm not saying
you did the work. Yes.
I put in some serious time.
So was that the first business you sold?
Yeah, so I sold that. 5 years later, sold that.
5 years?
Yep.
That's not that long.
No, but it was the internet. So think you have little
It's a very
overhead.
new industry.
You could really, it was very new. So once you could start to see that internet advertising was going to be huge, it was a tidal wave of opportunity.
Yeah. So you sold that business. You are then 28?
I'm 30.
You're 30.
Yep.
You're an exited entrepreneur.
Yes.
Where do you go from there? Like, did it give you all the confidence and all kind of the feeling like, okay, I made it, I can do this, let's go take over the world?
I mean, it definitely helps.
Yeah.
Once, yes. I remember going to the ATM and it had it said invalid, cannot support, right? After I made the sale, because I had made so much money that you couldn't even, it's a game changer. Mentally you go, oh, this is amazing.
Yeah.
I've just changed my entire life. It definitely gives you the courage and the confidence that, okay, I know a few things, but I think it's important to say, I didn't grow up thinking I was smart or innovative. I mean, my sister, I have a twin sister, and she was the smart one.
Really?
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. She was smarter, faster, stronger. Everything we did. She was always better than me. I swear.
I love it. So you were the underdog.
Yes, I was the underdog. So I didn't grow up thinking I'm going to become a .com millionaire. I just thought I just wanted a stable job. But my sister, and having twins, now I have 2 sets of them. So it's interesting how history just,
right.
Yeah. And so now I get to see it. But honestly, I wasn't the smart one. And so I labeled myself not the smart one from a very young age, which is labels that we put on ourselves from a very young age that are not true.
100%. But you know what? I started realizing, especially looking back at my life and kind of my own limiting beliefs and how I evolved as a businesswoman and as a person in general, I find that a lot of the labels that I acquired earlier on helped me to find and over-index on other strengths that I didn't know I had, which is interesting because for you, and I don't know if you ever thought about it, but you weren't the smart one, but maybe for you, like, I can work really hard, or, I can like push for something harder. Like you found something that you probably over-indexed on. Like, I can figure this out, or I have to figure it out so I don't look like the dumb one, whatever it is. Something was the secret sauce,
Yeah, it definitely pushed me to have the drive and determination that I will outwork you.
Exactly.
I may not be the smartest one, but let's say if the smart one works 8 hours and I work 16, I'm definitely going to have a better output.
Exactly.
Regardless of intellect.
Right, which is very cool. But when you sold the company, did you start to believe in this feeling like, okay, your limiting belief changed? Like, okay, I'm not the smart one. You started telling to yourself, okay, maybe I know a few things.
Yeah, now I'm like, now I thought, okay, I'm innovative.
Yeah.
I know things. After I sold my first company, my belief in myself and that confidence definitely grew. And that is so amazing because you realize there's less qualified people than me, or at that point, doing the things that I want to do because they believe. And so now I'm thinking, well, if I could do that, imagine what else I can do.
Yeah.
So you don't know what's possible unless you actually try.
You achieved this amazing accomplishment. You sold a company. You're still super young. You're very smart, very capable. And you walk into the next business or the next venture and you are hit with this like, am I qualified enough to be here? Am I good enough to be here?
Oh my gosh. Yes. After I sold, I remember a time that I was asked to be on a company board, a corporate board, which is amazing for a woman to be on a board. And I said no because I didn't feel qualified.
You see, this is what I'm talking about.
Which was why would I say no? And I regret that decision, obviously, but listen, there's a lot of older white guys on this board that have, Yale degrees. What was I going to be able to add? And what a limiting belief, again, because you just pull that red thread of I'm not the smart one. That was so wrong, right? But I did it anyway.
So you said no to the board. Where did you go after?
Well, so then I continued to work for the company. I had an earnout, so I continued to work for the company, climbed the ladder, corporate ladder. We did a bunch of acquisitions. I became CEO, and then we sold the company again. I know.
You
sold
were like, I'm on a
I'm like,
roll.
wait a second. Yes, for $235 million, which was pretty significant.
Wow.
And then I got sold to that company, which I took on the global CEO role. So knowing and having the confidence that I knew what I knew in my line, but once it started going outside, like a board or something different, I was like, oh, I don't know. Maybe I still don't know what I'm talking about. It's crazy.
So when did that happen, that shift from external validation and to search for that external validation to internal permission?
I think probably maybe when I sold that second time.
Because you said no to the board, even though externally,
yes.
I mean, your accomplishment validated that you are, of course, very qualified.
Yes, when I did it again,
yeah,
because sometimes you think maybe it was just luck the first time.
Yeah.
Maybe I just got lucky, but I didn't get lucky. No, now I'm really good. So once I sold again when I did the last sale, I was I'm actually really good at this.
Yeah.
But I shouldn't have had to sell twice in order to make myself believe that I'm good enough.
But maybe you did need to. I guess for me, we always talk about, oh, what advice would you give like a young woman who is in the beginning of her career to give that self-permission, to believe in herself, to be confident. I feel like we're selling a shortcut that maybe is just not possible. Like you have to go through the journey. Listening to you with your experience sheds light on the journey. They can know what to expect and how to navigate it, but you're not going to bypass it. Like, yeah, you have to earn that, you know?
You have to do your own journey, but you also should recognize that nobody knows what they're doing.
I want to tell you,
Nobody.
is whenever I get asked, what is the number one thing you've learned from being in business? And this is what it was. No one knows what they're doing. I sat with some amazing high-level people that I thought just wake up in the morning and have this brilliant mind with solutions that come out of air. And what I've realized is that those are not people that know what they're doing. They just have the courage and the drive to figure it out and know that they will figure it out.
Yeah, it goes back to that belief.
Right.
They just believe they'll figure it out.
Right.
That confidence, right? But nobody knows what they're doing. The more companies I invest in, the more people I meet, the more I know nobody actually knows what they're doing. Yes, they have a plan, but then something happens that changes the plan, right?
Yeah.
Whether COVID hits or the economy or tariffs, it doesn't matter. Something happens and that plan goes straight out the window.
Yeah.
It's kind of like parenting though. I don't really know what we're doing.
You know what? I always think like we're all just like kids just running around trying to figure out things, and like who gave us who allowed us to do all these things? We're just, if you look at it, it's quite entertaining to see trying to navigate parenting, trying to navigate building a business, social life, whatever it is. It's just really comes with no manual, and you just get humbled over and over again.
Over and over. And I thought, because now I have two sets of twins, I'm like, I grew up, I knew how this was. I'm like, that went out the window too. It's not the same, right? Every child's different. Everything's different. So as much as I think I know, now I'm smart enough to know I don't know. But I am also smart enough to find people that do.
And that's key.
That is key, is finding people that are smarter than you, that have different experiences than you, that can help you along the way. That is so key in every business that I built. Finding that mentor that's been there before, that's done that can really help you skip the line on the mistakes. Going back to mistakes, I've made so many. I hope that anyone reading the book can say, okay, at least I've learned from Kim's 20 years of experience.
Yeah.
Hopefully learn from her mistakes, and then obviously you're going to make your own. But let's not make the same ones.
Right. Or some of them, let's not repeat. Yes, 100%. Tell me about, because I'm curious, when you were looking for mentors, for people that can really contribute to your business, were you looking for like-minded people, or were you focused on bringing completely different set of not only skills but also thinking? Because I do think that sometimes we are more inclined to like find more of us,
For sure. There's a bias that you just like people like you.
Right.
Which is, to your point, it's not, you get all the same people in a room. What's unique and different? You need people that are thinking not like you, that can bring new ideas. But I think it depends actually on what I'm trying to create. If I'm just trying to create a business, I could take any business mentor that's run a company, because business basics are business basics. But if I am starting a beverage line, I need someone that specifically has done this before, because there are nuances that I will never learn. And if I do, it's going to cost me a lot of money. I think it's industry specific.
Right.
When you start really getting down to how am I going, if you're talking about business, you should find someone that's been there and done that. Hands down.
How was it to be a young, attractive woman in this male-dominated field? Because now you're going to the boardrooms, you are investing in companies. I'm sure that it came with its own set of, first of all, strengths. Yeah. But also certain kind of like,
oh my gosh,
weaknesses, I guess, or I don't know, hurdles.
Yeah, people ask me to get them coffee a lot.
Oh, that was...
Yes, I swear. I would walk in a room, like, could I give you a coffee? I'm like, I'm happy to, but I'm the CEO of the company. Like, are you kidding? But I'm happy to get you coffee. Like, what kind would you like, right? So I think it definitely, because if you go into a tech room 20 years ago, I'm likely the only female that you're going to see. Today, Actually, it's probably, listen, it's not a lot different, to be honest, in that industry. There's more, which is great to see. And I'm really proud of that. And I really am an advocate for more women in business. But I mean, I got asked, people assumed I am there to take notes.
But did you use any of this as strength?
Yeah, more people would want to talk to me because I look different, right? I don't look the same as everyone else. I do have a cheery disposition, which helps. And I think that would definitely open more conversations that were real and authentic. Because I did have a different viewpoint. I came from a different space. I mean, it's table stakes that I have to have the intellect to be in the room. But once I got in the room, I definitely was able to use it to an advantage.
Because there's a lot of conversations of, it's really difficult to be a woman kind of in a man's world. And some of these industries are a men's world. But I'm always curious. I mean, I didn't have that experience. I'm in a full women's world with content creation. But I'm just always curious, was it always a bad thing? Or did some women really learn how to use this as power?
Oh, yeah, you definitely learn how to navigate a room, but it's the same way as learning how to operate. I was bought by a publicly traded company. I'm an entrepreneur from my kitchen table. Now running within a $50 billion company is a very different way to act as an entrepreneur. So I think you learn how to navigate the room better. Listen, you got to use the assets you have, right?
Yeah.
And I think being confident in yourself, I remember similarly going to a board meeting, which I was a CEO, and sitting behind the table. And they're like, why would I do that? Looking back, that's crazy. I should be in front of the table telling everyone what to do.
And that's such an interesting point, because maybe a lot of those feelings that we feel in those situations when we are in rooms that we feel we don't belong to are also based on the actions that we take, right?
Right.
Standing in the back or not...
sitting in the back.
Right.
Makes no sense. Why would I even, now looking back, that I put myself there? That was my own fault.
Yeah.
And so what I'd recommend my younger self now, it's take a seat at the table and own it.
Because these are small things that make a huge difference, right? If it's the tone of voice, if it's where you stand, if it's how you walk into the room, were there any things that you picked up throughout your career that made you a better leader and an entrepreneur?
I think understanding people is really important. And the personal relationships, which I deeply value, has made my success even greater. Obviously, being in a woman in business and tech world and a man's world is hard. It is. I don't want to say it's not, because you're always underestimated. And see, even I say that, but I think it's true.
Yeah.
You will constantly be underestimated and you shouldn't be, right? But it just is what it is. So you have to be okay. I also think if I was younger, just fake it till you make it. Nobody knows. I mean, that's what all the guys are doing, right? They're
a little power pose and go in.
Yeah, just own it. Nobody knows. So I think reminding yourself, you've got this.
Is there power in being underestimated? Do you think it helped you in your career?
Yeah, because people tell you stuff because they don't think you can do anything with it.
You see?
Yes.
This is what I'm talking about.
Yes, you're at a dinner, people will tell you all the challenges they're having, and you're thinking, they're just telling you that because...
They're just unloading.
They're just unloading. And you're thinking, okay, well, if these are your pain points, I can actually solve that. But because you feel they're underestimating, they probably are, but then you could use that and turn it around to offer solutions to those problems, because people love to talk about all the problems they have.
Yeah. And that is one power that women have. And I think that's why they're such great business leaders. The idea of that connection, right? You're really able to build that connection, because you said something really interesting, that business is personal.
It is.
Right?
But personal.
I feel like men are not necessarily operate from that place.
No, and I don't feel like I have to be the loudest in the room. A guy will come in and he'll be the loudest in the room, and that he thinks that's his power move. My power move is actually, I don't have to be the loudest in the room. I can listen. Listen is a great quality of great leaders. And, God gives you one mouth and two ears. We should be spending twice as much time listening, because that's where you're going to pick up subtle nuances that really can help you.
See, this is what I'm saying. You're giving us this is the
Inside.
little inside tools. It's important to note, for women in business, we're breaking a lot of kind of glass ceilings and we're learning how to navigate it. But I never want to frame it as like women versus men, because it's not. The power is when both come together. But I really love speaking to female entrepreneurs because they have this lens from observing, men working and then finding their own unique ways. You know what I mean? Because you shouldn't try to do the same thing.
No.
Because some of the things they do don't work. That's why we're here.
Yes, I agree. Like being loud and obnoxious and trying to prove that you're right. I don't need to do that, right? I think being confident in what I can bring to the table, and it is different. And I think having more women in the room, the statistics show that women are on the rise, which I love. And having a woman in a leadership position will increase your profits by, I think, 25%.
That's a statistic?
Yeah, statistically, women are better as part of a team. So we should be, to your point, it's not women or men. It's how do we work better together because we bring different talents to the table. And so I always caution women. They're like, oh, I'm going to just do all women. I'm like, well, you're actually leaving out some amazing insights that some of these guys might have, and vice versa, right?
Yeah, and the way they operate, 100%. I love that. We talk about it a lot within our company. We're mainly women and Gary, but we are now seeing we would love to bring more men in because we do see gaps that men will be so phenomenal in those tasks.
And they just think differently, right?
Yes, exactly.
So it's a balance. How do we find the balance, I think, as opposed to one or the other? We can't always, the pendulum always goes one way or the other, but it's actually the balance, just like a relationship, that makes it great.
In your earlier days, what helped you, aside from the belief in yourself, which also very difficult to build, any other things that you recommend to other people?
Well, you'll never feel 100% ready. So to start with just that idea, and I always say, dream big, like really big, as big as you can even think, right? Like I never thought in my whole life, I would ever sell my company for what I did. But start small. What's one thing that you can do today? If you have a dream, if you want to create something, what's the smallest way to do that? Start local. What's the local way to get a product up, get your idea out there, start talking to people about it, develop a prototype, sell it at the local farmer's market. I think people think it gets so overwhelming when you think, I'm going to build a huge company. I sat at my kitchen table and I'm just trying to figure out how to make a buck. So starting smaller, I think, is a better idea because you'll learn along the way and understanding that whatever you think, your company or your idea, until it hits the market or until it collides with the customer, it's just an idea in your head. And I think 89% of businesses fail because they don't have product market fit. So the market actually doesn't like the idea you have. So you just have to get to 70%, go out. So I use the 70% rule, which is get to 70% of your idea and then go out and talk to people because you need feedback.
Yeah.
And you're scared and you want to perfect it to, again, perfectionism. You're scared. It's got to be perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect because whatever you have, I've invested in over 150 companies now. 99% of them have pivoted their business. So let's just assume your business is going to change. Well, in that case, you better get out there faster. So speed is really important, especially today. Just get out there.
Put fear aside. This is purely business. You need to put your idea out there so you know how to navigate it. Because right now you have nothing.
You're never going to get rid of your fears. The fear's there, right? No matter what, even things I do today, I'm always still afraid, but I do not let it stop me from taking the chance because I'd rather do it than regret. That I have more of a fear of regret. I don't want to be 80 and regret not doing something. Do you?
Yeah, that's always what propelled me forward. I agree. I'm always scared of what I look back at and say I didn't have the courage to try it rather than me trying something and it failed, whatever, at least I did it.
Right. That regret will haunt you. And so it's making sure, and I think just putting it more bite-sized chunks. So if you said, hey, where do you want to be in 1 year from today? I'm always thinking in 1 year timeframes. Don't, again, not in 5 years, just 1 year. Where would you like to be? Because the worst thing to me is being in the same place. In 1 year, if I'm just sitting here doing the same thing, that is actually moving backwards.
Yeah. being stagnant. For
Yeah,
sure.
we want to grow and we want to learn and we have purpose. And how do we as women encourage each other to go after our dreams? Everyone has an idea. Everyone I talk to, they've got an idea. Something cool, something they found about, I don't know. You know how much energy and excitement comes from creating?
From actually doing the thing.
Yes, from doing the thing. People light up. Their whole energy changes.
As I get older, I dislike it more and more. And maybe I need to be more compassionate. But when people come to me, and had a few friends that I had to like sit them down and tell them, listen, you've come to me already 10 times with different ideas. You haven't done anything about any of that. It bothers me. It's like I'm disappointed in all the things that could have been, but you didn't had the ability to go out and do it. What is it like with people with these ideas, everything? There's so many ideas, but there's quite often not enough action.
Ideas are a dime a dozen, but execution is everything. And so being able to take that idea and actually put it to reality, that is hard. It's easy to dream. It's hard to do.
Yeah. But what are the qualities you think people, especially you're working with so many entrepreneurs, like what are the common qualities you see in these entrepreneurs that go out there and do it?
Oh, it's very clear. The number one, they have a very clear vision. If you don't know where you're going, how do you expect to get there? They know where they're going. What
From
they
the
want
start?
to create. They have an idea of what they want to create. Again, it could change.
Yeah.
They want to go from A to Z. They know where they want to go. It's very clear, crystal clear. But how they get there will change along the way. So but at least they know. So you have to set that into the sand. Then they have to have the passion. And that comes with actually putting in the work. And passion is the Latin root word of pain or suffering. Listen, there is no overnight success. If you want to be successful, you're going to have to put in time. Again, if you're going to be
suffering.
Yeah, suffering. That means late nights, early mornings, doing the things that no one else wants to do because you believe in this vision so much. And that makes a huge difference. If you're not willing to do extra time, if you're not willing to stop scrolling the internet or watching Netflix, you're not willing to cut out some of the other things, you're not going to be successful because there's just not enough hours in the day. You have to have the passion because that passion is what's going to push you through. You have to take action. As you said, what is that first step? Take action. You have the resilience because I can tell you, you're going to take the first step. I guarantee you're going to get rejected. Something's going to go wrong. You're going to hit a setback. Something will happen once you take that action that's not going to be favorable. And so you have to have the resilience to keep going. Say someone rejects you. I mean, I get rejected all the time. Most people would say, okay, well, I'm packing it in. I tried, Kim, but it didn't work. I'm like, well, how many people did you ask? One. Well, okay. Maybe as for feedback's a gift, right? I get rejected all of the time. Still, oh my gosh, whether I'm fundraising, pitching for a deal, wanting to do a partnership, people tell me no. And every time, it's still a gut punch. I'm like, it's me. What do you mean? My track record is amazing.
I feel like the stakes are higher when you have this track record.
Yeah, I'm like, yes, but I keep putting myself in positions that I could get rejected. And I think that builds the resilience muscle. You have to be prepared to fail. You have to put yourself out there that someone is going to tell you no. And so if you do that, you are 10 times more likely to be successful. But again, it's easy just to not put yourself out there because you don't want to get rejected because it hurts.
Yeah. But you see, it's amazing because if we take it back to the dinner table with your father, right? Talking about the failures, he was vulnerably kind of sharing what resilience looks like.
He was. And so it made it acceptable.
Yeah.
Right? More acceptable. But if you said, I'm going to go for the no. Let's just say, I've got a great idea. I'm going to go for the no.
Wait, I love that.
Right?
Go for the no.
I'm going to go for the no. I hope you reject me. And you go in with the mindset that they will reject me. Well, it doesn't feel so bad because you already accepted that they're going to reject you. Now you're just trying to learn, understand, get feedback. But so go for the no.
You see, it connects back again to this external validation versus internal permission, right? It's like you need to give yourself permission to fail and learn. Look at it as a learning opportunity, not as like, I need that yes in order to validate what I'm doing and what I believe in.
Right, because honestly, looking back, there are so many people that are going to tell you why it's a bad idea, why you shouldn't do it, why you shouldn't do. I mean, honestly, I feel that people also just want you to stay who you are. Well, I don't want to stay who I am. I'm ambitious. I want to create and grow and learn and help others do the same. Again, it goes back to who are you surrounding yourself with? People that want to grow and learn and create, that's who you need to sit at the table with.
We've been talking about this amazing journey you've had as an entrepreneur. And I, of course, want to highlight as well that you have 4 kids. And to me, I'm not going to talk about balance because balance is a very interesting word for me. But what I am curious about is in the world of business and entrepreneurship, you require so much ambition, motivation, like you're very in your masculine, you move forward. And then you go home and you kind of need to shift gears. And I think that's the hardest thing for women to do because we have to play, both kind of on both fields. How do you create that balance in your life?
My husband and I decided really early on that I would not be the disciplinarian.
I love that.
So when I go home, my job is to love, to embrace and be present and not to your point, I'm in a very masculine role at work. I want to come home and just be in a feminine role. And so we decided really early on that I wasn't going to do that.
That's brilliant.
Which has been amazing, actually. So I get to be the fun one, too. I want to be the fun one.
Yeah, and you get to play, which
my
is
husband's
what
really
you don't
fun,
do.
too. But I at least get to, actually, be fun and make that part of who I am and, that interaction. Because it would be too hard to do both, to be honest. I need to be able to come back and be kid-like and fun and
soft.
Yeah, and just warm and connection. And I think that has been a huge win for us in our relationship because it would be too hard to do
Was
both.
that a conversation? Tell me, because you said we decided it early on. How was it? You knew, or you guys kind of seen that, okay, this is how I am at work and I don't want to bring it home? That was the conversation? Because it's very advanced.
No, actually it was because when growing up, my dad was the fun one and my mom was the disciplinarian. And I thought, I don't want to be that when I have kids. I want to be the fun one. and he said, fine. He didn't care. We agreed on that before we had kids.
So many women are building their careers, are entrepreneurs, are exploring themselves outside of the mother identity, the mother role, the wife role. And I think we have right now a bit of a disconnect of how can I have it all without running myself to the ground and losing myself.
Yeah.
And I think that this is so brilliant. I've never heard anybody talk about it, where it's this conscious decision where I'm going to do what I do at work and I'm going to be wearing my suit. But when I come home, I soften and lean into the feminine, and your husband creates that environment for you.
Yes, and it's amazing. So I feel that has been a gift, and I know not everyone has that, but early on that decision, I think it's also about communication. We talked about it, and I said, this is not the life I want to live. I don't want to do this. He's like, okay, great. He was fine with it. He came from a military family, so very on point, very traditional. It's like, okay, it makes sense. And it works. And so it's so nice for me because then I just get to be the fun, snuggly mom.
I think the most important decision you make in your life is choosing your partner.
Oh, 100%.
Because life could have looked so different.
Yes.
With a different choice.
Oh my gosh. I would not be who I am today without him. Honestly, his support is so amazing. And I think he got that because his mom worked. And so growing up, he saw his mom work, and that was very normal to him. So me working is very normal too. So that support system is huge.
Like an anchor.
Oh my gosh, yes. And I value harmony over everything. So if my relationship isn't in harmony, let's say my personal, I can't do what I do best. Always prioritizing and making sure we're good. And everything else will stem from that, right? The kids stem from, everyone can see it. My business stems from that. It's that foundation. Oh my gosh, it makes the biggest difference. It's the number one driver of success.
Let's talk about your newest, or maybe it's not, I don't know, I can't keep up with you, but 100.co. So tell me about that.
So 100.co is an incubator of companies and brands because I love to invest. So I love entrepreneurs. I love to invest in them. my grandma made a bet on me and I want to pay that forward. And that's why I've invested in so many companies to date. I love women entrepreneurs of different backgrounds and diversity. And I really want to pay that forward. And so that's why I created the company, is to find that next generation of brands, that next generation of founders that really have these purpose, that are purpose-driven founders. Because I want to back people that have a dream and it's really personal.
Your focus is AI.
So it's focused actually on technology, because that's my background, but using technology to create brands. So we have a technology company called Dash, which is a predictive intelligence company, but we also have a beverage brand and we have a beauty brand. So we have different companies that are able to use technology in order to be able to differentiate themselves in market. And I think it's really important, because whatever company you start, it has to have something unique about it that makes it different than anything else.
How do you feel like creators and founders can start integrating AI? Because now I feel like that's all you hear about, but it's also this like big bubble that everyone's trying to navigate and a little scared of as well. How do you feel like they can integrate AI into their workflow? Because you're mentioning that you are focusing on systems, like solutions for founders.
Well, I think first start with basics. It depends where you are in the
it's a spectrum.
on the spectrum. I think number one, I'm obsessed with ChatGPT. I use it for basically everything I do. That has to be taking hours off founders' lives, right?
Yeah.
You too. Literally, whether it be an email to someone, a deal I make, an investor letter, some social media, I use it for everything. And even if I think mine's good, I put it in and said, write it better. I swear I do.
Take it up a notch.
Take it up a notch. So I think starting with just basic fundamentals. My predictive intelligence company is monitoring the brands that are doing well in market. It's looking at price points. It's looking at ingredients. It's looking at what's trending. So how do you use intelligence to tell you what's trending in market so you can be ahead of the curve? So I think it depends on what tool you're going to use, but not using any is not an option.
Right.
It's just not an option, not anymore. And I think if you look at why founders will be successful in the future is because they're looking at not what AI tools I'm going to use or how AI is going to change the game. What they need to be saying is, it will change the game. And how do I become more flexible, adapt quicker, and use these tools to make my business better? So it's that adoption that you have to, put your head in the sand. It's not going to work. Like it's going to crush you. So you need to actually, as a founder, thinking, okay, great, I'm going to learn. How do I get smarter?
I mean, we have already, what happened with the internet. There were so many companies that were like, yeah, no, that's not going to work. Yeah. And they were left behind or took a very long time to get with it. So we already have the case study to show you that this
it's happening.
Yeah, this is happening. What industry are you excited about when it comes to, beside AI? Like any industry that's right now is kind of still traditional, old school, that you think will have the biggest kind of revolution? Or evolution?
First, I could go on a crypto tangent and blockchain, because I'm really big on, I do think I do think blockchain's the future. I have a Web3 company, but I'm also a beverage entrepreneur. And I think it's funny because we're looking at like the tea category. Tea can be disrupted. Any category you think of can be disrupted. What's the modern version of whatever idea you have? And so what I like about that is when you look at functional drinks on the market, you can now pack them with ashwagandha and lion's mane and all the mushrooms and reishi. And if you look at Poppy or Olipop, they've done so well with prebiotic soda. There's so many opportunities to disrupt in every category. So now it's just looking at, what category do I love? It's fun and I'd love to create, but you have to have that different, what's the modern soda? What's the modern tea? What's the modern chocolate bar? You name it, there's an opportunity.
That's exciting.
It is exciting. What are we going to create?
So I know, right? The options are limitless. We're going to go to the kitchen island to get the juices going. Thank you so much. You gave me like a lot of life inspiration in terms of just like the small ways that you live your life aside from business. Of course, you're a brilliant businesswoman, but you can tell that you picked up like wisdoms that really helped you navigate and have it all and still be, your fullest self. And that is to me success. When a person can both self-actualize in the work, but also in life. So Kim, thank you so much for your time. And the book, when the episode will go live, the book will be available for pre-order.
Yes.
Which is very exciting. I cannot wait. Can I keep this copy?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
great.
Yes, it's yours.
And can you please share where our audience can find you?
Oh my gosh. Yes. It's been so amazing being here. I love it. I can't wait to see what we can create. You can find me on kimperell.com. It's KIMPERELL.com. And you can come get some great advice. And also my new book.
I love it. Thank you, Kim. Cheers.
Cheers, friend.
Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't miss my newest episode right here. And if you're listening to the podcast on Apple or Spotify, please go and leave a review with your biggest takeaway. I love reading your thoughts. They inspire me. So if you have any suggestions for guests or topics, you can leave them in the comment section. And always remember, you are not alone.